shot. I bet you're here for a different kind of shot. That's what I'll bet. Yeah. You know, oh, look at all of you. It's really a long wait, and I have a lot to do. I have to play bingo at the home. I'm the caller. That'll do it, yeah. I'm the caller. No, I'll be up. I'll be all over. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Oh, it's going to be a really long wait. Really is. So, do you like music? Yeah, I do too. Well, you know, I just moved into the home. And it's a terrible place, and I really don't like it. I don't like it. But they made me head of the entertainment committee. So I thought, well, you know, maybe if I gave them a little entertainment and sort of spiced it up a little, maybe it would be a better place for all of us. That's what I thought. But I'm a little worried about the first number. Since you're all sitting here waiting for the nurse to give you her shot, yeah, you know, they're terrible, these health services. They don't care, do they? No, they don't. So would you mind just listening to this first number and seeing, it's going to take me a little to get this microphone right, because you're not going to be able to hear me otherwise, and seeing what you think. You know, those old people are really conservative. I mean, I don't want anyone to have a heart attack or drop dead or anything when I sing it. So just think, just imagine that you were in the home and I was doing entertainment for you, and I came out and sang this song. Woo! Can we start?
Yeah!
You move. There's a burlesque theater where the gang loves to go. See Queenie the Cutie on the burlesque show. Thrill of the evening, it's when out Queenie skips. Band plays the polka while she strips. Take it off, Fresno. Take it off, take it off, take it off. Take it off. But she's always a lady when the king hands her hand. So she stops, and always just in time. I shouldn't have done that. I just got replaced last week. Oh, she's sweet and as lovely as the flowers in May. She hopes to retire to the farm one day. She can't buy a pleasure up in the chips. Then plays the polka as she strips. Yes, she does, and always just in time. She hates fancy waltzes and she hates the gavotte, but there's one big advantage when the music's not. There's a fast romance. For the nurse comes. She's not going to give me a shot in the wrong place. Well, you know, I planned all this, and have any of you ever been to the home?
Yes!
Then you know what it's like, don't you?
Yes!
Yes, it is. It's nobody. What they do is they wake us up at 6 in the morning. They get us dressed, and they take us to breakfast, and then they take us to our procedures, and we have our physical therapy and all our therapy, and then they take us to lunch. And then we have these disgusting entertainments that some young girl thought of, like pillow yoga. chair something, and it's just disgusting stuff that nobody would do. And then they take us to dinner at 4 in the afternoon, and then they take us upstairs to bed so they can get home to their families. And we never have a chance to talk to each other, and we never have a time to get to know each other. So I thought to myself, well, maybe if I told them a little bit about me, maybe they would tell me a little bit about them, and that would be a better place for all of us. So I'm from Toledo, Ohio. Does anybody know about Toledo, Ohio? You don't want to. That's where Joe the plumber is from. It's the armpit of the United States. So when I got to California, my people skills were pretty bad. And I said to my friend Gerald, I said, you know, my people skills are really stinko. What can I do to improve them? And he said, well, what you should do is go to a Human Awareness Institute. So I said, what's that? He said, well, a Human Awareness Institute is where they gather 150 people in one room and they take off all their clothes and become aware of how human they are. Yeah! I said, that's one way to do it. That's one way to do it. So I went with him to Harbin Hot Springs. And there we were at this human awareness thing, and we walk into this room, and there's all these people with balloons and streamers, and they're throwing them all around, and they're hugging each other, and they're naked. They're absolutely naked. It was, oh my God, Gerald, look at that couple. Ah, there are 3 of them. Does human awareness make them that high? And he said, it isn't human awareness. It's crack. Said all the gentlemen, obviously, Lynn has a serious drug dependency. When a lightning flash exposed my stash, said all the dancers, oh shit, you can see. Lynn has a serious what? Drug dependency. And it was crystal meth that made me fine. I topped it. Another line, I wanted more. They gave me glue. Who knew? Then I grabbed my bong and we all walked along, and all the druggies said, yes, you can see. The lady has a lovely what? Made me thrill. I topped it with a vodka swill. I wanted more. I shot some junk. I stunk. But then I grabbed my bong and we all puffed along. The druggie said, yes, you can see. The lady has a lovely oh shit. Oh look, there's Mary, my dealer. How much for a kilo today, honey? Papaya is on the house. Yeah, thank you. She's got good stuff. She really does. A lot better than the stuff we did in the 50s, I'll tell you that. Well, as I said, I'm from Toledo, Ohio, and I always have been really uncoordinated. Really uncoordinated. I mean, you can see by the way I'm walking, and so my license comes due in October, and I decided I didn't want to go to the DMV because nobody there understands me. I can only speak English. I know you won't believe this, but that joke worked in Scotland. I still can't think of that. Anyway, so I decided to take up skateboarding to get around town. My driving habits have changed a lot since 1949. Was anybody alive in 1949? No, nobody here was, but I was. When I learned to drive, we learned to drive at the Automobile Club, and we learned to drive on Willie's Jeeps. Does anybody remember Willie's Jeeps? They were the first 4-wheel drives. They had these great big tires with great big treads, and they could, the soldiers, like the Battle of the Bulge and the Battle of Normandy, they would jump into the Jeeps, and they would go over mud and dirt and Nazis, and they would escape. And they had high windows and low seats, so you could do hand jobs and nobody could look in. Anything for our troops. Yeah, right. We're very loyal. And they had no shocks, so I felt like I was learning to drive a pogo stick. I walked into the automobile club, and my instructor came out. He was on crutches, and he had 2 black eyes, and he had no teeth, and his arm was in a sling. And he said to me, "I hope you're more coordinated than the last one." Well, I wasn't. And I can honestly say that I'm responsible for 51% of the paraplegics in Toledo, Ohio in 1951. And I also instituted the first drive-thru at a Big Mac, at a McDonald's. I got one with everything, including the front window and the cook. Now I drive like everyone my age. You've driven behind me. As soon as I get in the car, I put on the turn signal. You never know when you're going to have to make a left turn. And when I get on 99, I go 5 miles an hour. How else can you read the signs? When I parallel park right in the middle of the road, so that when I back in, I stop both lanes and I get a little respect. It's about time. Yeah, right. And then, and then there's this business of right-of-way. What's this business of right-of-way? I am 79 years old. Do I not deserve the right-of-way? Yeah! So I turned left into my street, and this policeman stopped me and said, "You forgot to signal." I said, "Listen, young man, I have lived here for 30 years. Why should I signal?" And he gave me a little yellow slip of paper. He gave me a little yellow slip of paper with my autograph on, with his autograph on it. I have a lot of those slips of paper with those autographs on it. And that's why I've decided to ride my bike. Ride my bike. Here we go with Ride My Bike. Not so much of the couch, but when I got my wheels, you'd be surprised. I'm pretty bad at the couch, but when the torque is just right, everyone, you'd be surprised. In the garden or on the slopes, gotta admit, I'm much of a dope, but in my you'd be surprised. I started it about 3 years ago, and I'm pretty new to it, so I decided I needed to get a mentor. My mentor is Peaches Delancey. This is, I never saw one of these at the clinic. Anyway, my mentor is Peaches Delancey, and she models senior fashions at Tifke's Boutique. Have you ever been there? Very hot fashions, yeah, right. Well, I was at one of her gigs one time, and she said to me, "How would you like to come back to my dressing room for a spot of tea?" A sagging chin, a toothless grin, 2 lips you'd never want to see. When I wake him, you'll grab impatiently. He reaches out, and then I shout, "You fool!" It's a new world now. It's a new world. You're never alone. You are never alone. If you're drinking too much, you can go to Alcoholics Anonymous and they'll help you stop drinking. If you're on too many drugs, you can go to Drugs Anonymous and they'll help you stop taking drugs. If you want to commit suicide, you can call the suicide helpline and they'll help you commit suicide. You're never alone. When your washing machine breaks, you can call the Maytag man. He's just sitting around anyway. When your computer breaks, you can call India. All you have to do is give yourself up to a higher power. There's support to keep you active. There's support for your TV. There's support to lift you from depression and support to cut your calories. There's support to keep your phone ringing and support to make you sing a song. But the support that makes you think you love me is the cannabis in your bone. Support to keep you active. There's support to keep you clean. There's support to take you from your card games and support to make your garden green. There's support to keep your phone ringing and support to make you fancy free. But the support that makes you think you love me is a voyage on LSD. I know the trips to take, honey. Yes. You know, getting a date these days isn't easy. Getting a date these days isn't easy, and so I've decided to join gdate.com, geriatricdate.com. But for a website like that, I don't think they should put up headshots. Do you? No. No, I think they should put up body scans. Yeah. You want to know, is the hip his? Do the teeth come out at night? It's a whole different blowjob if the teeth come out at night. This is true. Yeah, so I decided to put up a picture of my mother changing. You know, they all lie, those pictures. So I put up a picture of my mother changing my diaper. Of course, I changed my own now, but I felt that was closer to the truth. And I got a hit from this guy, and he said, I'd like to take you to Starbucks. Now, when you're 79 years old, Starbucks is a very hot date. You get caffeine. So I said, oh boy, I would love that. And he said, well, all right, I'll pick you up at 7:30. How many steps to your front porch? Nobody caught on to that. I didn't either. I said, 2. I said, 2. He said, well then, I'll just pull up to the curb and I'll honk at 7:30 and you come out. Well, you know, at 7:30, I didn't know whether he got there or not because at 7:30, I was still looking for my hearing aid and I never did find it until I had to go upstairs and get my teeth. But by that time, the batteries were soaked. Understand what that joke is. I'm going to give you a joke to explain it. A man was walking down the street with a suppository in his ear. Someone said, sir, you have a suppository in your ear. And he said, oh shit, now I know where I put my hearing aid. So now you know where I put my hearing aid, which is in the glass. I finally did go out with him. He was the shortest man I have ever seen. He was absolutely the shortest man I've ever seen. And he walked like this. Now, why you old men walk like this is something I will never know. It's as if you're trying to protect something that doesn't need protecting anymore. Trust me, it doesn't. Anyway, we were at Starbucks. He gave me $20. He said, get whatever you want. So I got a cab and went home. So I decided to give up, and I was deciding, okay, I'm not going out anymore. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just stay home and play bingo. I like bingo. I always get a blackout before they even call the number. So I like bingo. I like bingo a lot. And I decided I was just going to stay home and play bingo. And then I was at Safeway. I know you won't believe this, but I was at Safeway and I met this hot senior citizen. Hot. Yeah. When he paid the cashier, he didn't cry. And when he went to the restroom, he came right out. You know what that means? Everything's working. Yeah. Came over to my house and he took me out for dinner, and we went to a vegetarian cafe because we're both vegetarians, and we dined on lentil stew because neither of us have teeth. Then we bicycled the 6 miles back to my flat. We ran up the 20 flights to my front door. He took me in his arms and I could feel his heart beating. That's really unusual. I could feel his heart beating. And I thought, this is it. This is the moment I've been waiting for. I thought it all grew back together, but no, this is it. I'm going to have the big one again. Yeah, and then he said to me, wait. And I said, why? He said, just wait. I have to take my medication. And I said, for what? And he said, for what comes next. So I waited. This is a joke here. I waited. And I waited, and I waited. And finally, I said, is anything happening back there? Obviously nothing was, and I decided to take matters in my own hands. Put another capsule in, wait an hour, then begin to love me like you used to do. Music. Medication is the key to be the man you used to be. I need lots more than loving you, and music. Faster, my heart beats faster. The nicest part of what we are about is knowing that you won't pass out. So put another capsule in. Wait an hour, then begin to love me like you used to do. Anything happening there? It's not the man I thought he was. He's got promises to keep. He's just putting me to sleep to music. Come on, honey, you got promises to keep and you're doing nothing to music. Faster, you're a disaster. The worst part of this failed event is all the wasted time I've spent. You're not the Romeo you seem. You blasted all my little dreams. I need a little whoop-de-doo and Well, you know, I'm not as active as I used to be, but they have, now that I'm in the home, they have a little bus. And they pick you up in the little bus and you get to go to the gym. And I like going to the gym. You've seen those little buses with the seniors sitting at the window, clawing at the window. You've seen those little buses. Yeah, well, I'm on that bus. And we go to 24-hour fitness. And I was doing my exercise exercises, and I really love it. I was picking up my 1-pound weights, and I was lifting them up a little bit. Yeah, and I was on the bicycle. I was going 1 mile an hour, and then one day, my gluteus maximus got caught in my pelvic girdle, and the rest is history. It's history. He gave me the wheelchair 2 winters ago when I took that terrible fall. The pads and the pants, the EMS light. It was right after that, I recall. Then last night in my apartment, he billed me for them all, and I screamed as I went down the hall. Take back your crutch, take back your chair. What made you think I could walk up a stair? I'm screaming, take back the pants, the rubber pants too. I may have leaks, but I don't ever see through. Thought that each expensive gift you'd arrange was a token of your esteem. But when I think of what you want in exchange, it all seems a horrible dream. So take back your crutch, that old worn-out stick, and tell them to sharpen the handle for some other chick. That each expensive gift you arrange, exchange, see. From whence it came, and tell them to shut the armrest for some other dame. This disgusting man will take with one hand and give with another. Isn't that disgusting? Yeah, it is, man. There we go. Well, you know, as I told you, as I told you, I'm from Toledo, Ohio. Does anybody know anything about the Midwest? Has anyone ever been? You know, the winters. This is what happens in the Midwest. In the Midwest, promptly on November 1st, winter descends. The temperature becomes 99 below zero, and the humidity is 99%. Who goes to work in the morning? What time do you get up to go to work? What time do you get up? What time? 6 o'clock. If you have to get up to go to work at 6 o'clock, you have to get up in Toledo, Ohio. You have to get up at 2 in the morning, and you have to get all dressed, and you have to put on your 3 layers of underwear, and then your clothes, and then your scarf, and then your little nose shield, and your mittens, and your snowmobile suit, and your other scarf, and then you have to go out. You have to take your little heat torch, and you have to blow defrost the lock on the car, and then you have to unlock it, and you have to defrost the radiator, then you have to change the tire, then you have to rev up the battery, and then you have to get started to drive to work. You drive to work, the wind is blowing, and the trees are falling, buildings are crashing, everybody's blowing into each other. Little children and little boys and little girls are standing on the corners crying for their mommies and their daddies, and you get to work at 6 o'clock, right? 6 o'clock, okay. You go upstairs and you work in the office, and you come back down. What time are you done? 5. You come down at 5 o'clock, you put on all your underwear and all the extra clothes, and you need the heat torch to open the lock, and then you have to recharge the battery, and you have to defrost the radiator, and then you finally you have to wipe off the windshield. By this time it's even worse. Helicopters are flying in to pick up the wounded. Shopping centers are crashing in the center of the road. Semis are crashing into each other. People are screaming. Little puppies and little kitties are mewing and wallowing on the corner for their mommies and their daddies. And you get home at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then what do you have to do? Get ready to go to work. And all I can say is that's a hell of a long time to have to sit in the car. Thank heavens for little pets. They help you when you think you're getting caught. Thank heavens for little pets. They protect you from that telltale little spot. When you are in a rush and all a flurry, you can go all day and never have to worry. Thank heaven for little pets. Be it coffee, be it tea, they're there for you when you have to go all day and can't get to a restroom. Thank heavens. Thank heavens. Was eating popcorn and you drink a gallon of Coca-Cola. Oh my God, thank heavens. Thank heavens for little pads. Now send them back to me. It's time to throw them back. Now it's fine. Thank heavens. To sleep and you drank a gallon of milk and thank heavens. Thank heavens. Oh, thank heavens for little pads. Where are they? You have to go back. This will be the first show I don't get all the diapers. I never get the condoms back, but I always get the diapers. Then I have to pick them up. I think. Can we throw them all back here? Come on, throw them. You know, up till now, let's see if I can do this. I've been kidding, and I'm still kidding. But I wanted this show is really about the joys of living your life every day that you have. So I'm going to tell you a story, and this is a true story. I go to the Edinburgh Festival every year, and the first year that I was there, I met a woman named Lynn, and she called me when I got home in September, and she said, Ruth, I have breast cancer. I'm not letting it take 1 minute of my day. She said, I'm going to live every minute I have left. And she spent more time with her family, and she spent more time with her grandchildren. She went to the Edinburgh Festival. She came to Denver, and she skied, and that was when she always called me. She's from London. And then she went to the London Festival, and the Brighton Festival, and the Newcastle Festival. She went to Banff. And then just last year, her husband called me. She was out dancing. She was out, oh, I have to tell you what she did. She bought 365 wigs, one for every day of the year, because because she was losing her hair because of the radiation. And she went out every night. And then last year her husband called me, and she had been at a dance, and then she died. So this song is dedicated to all of you and to Pamela Littman. And if we can begin, and you'll join with me in the second chorus. Are we ready? First I was afraid. I thought my head had song. I thought that it could go on thinking I was bald. I spent so many nights rubbing garbage in my head, but I'm not dead. I'm out of carry-on. I bought a wig and 2 new hats, and I went out to give a life because I didn't give a drat. Changed my attitude, and I got myself some curls, draped myself in satin and a brand new string of pearls, and I can walk right out the door in a swinging ponytail or a fancy pompadour. I am full of fluffy feathers, say shadow my eyes, I will not crumble. I will not lie down and die, I will not lie. I will survive as long as I can use a coat. I know that I'll survive. I have all my life to live, and all my love to give. I will survive. I will survive. Hey, hey. I will survive. Honest, I love to give. I will survive. Next song. I'm living my life, and I'm so alive. Nothing can stop me. I know I'll survive. I made it this far, and you can bet. The older I am, the better I get. I can't ride a bike. I can't throw a ball. My tummy sags, and I'm not very tall. My joints crack and my knees crunch. I need to nap after breakfast and lunch, but I'm living my dream, and I'm so alive. Sing with me, nothing can stop me. I know I'll survive. I made it this far, and you can bet. The older I am, the better I get. The years go by so very fast. The morning dawns, I blink and it passed. And when I get by, I want to be glad that I chased my dream, not wish that I had. I'm living my dream, and I'm so alive. Nothing can stop me. I know I'll survive. I made it this far, and you can bet. The older I am, the better I get. I can't ride a bike, I can't throw a ball. My tummy sags and I'm not very tall. My joints crack and my knees crunch. I need to nap after breakfast and lunch, but I'm living my dream, come on, and I'm so alive. Nothing can stop me. I know I'll survive.
says you all need to go get a drink. So you better do it. So we want to, again, let's hear it again for Lynn, Ruth, Lynn. We're so pleased, so excited to have her here today. It was not about that much fun. And guess what? We still have naked ladies. So that's a good tip. We're going to take a little bit of a break, clean up the stage, and then we're going to come back with our brand new burlesquers. Yeah, this is our girls that are doing it for the first time. And you know you want to see it. So go have a break. We'll take a few minutes. We're going to clean up the stage. Don't forget to tip your bartender.